Eye. Exercise 24. External anatomy of eye. Accessory structures: eyebrows, levator palpebrae superioris, opens eye. Medial and lateral canthus. Eyelashes. Ciliary glands, modified sweat glands. Small sebaceous glands. Styes, inflamed ciliary glands or small sebaceous glands. Terms: lacrimal glanding duct, lacrimal sac, nasolacrimal duct, lacrimal caruncle. Tears, lacrimal fluid. A watery physiologic saline, with a plasma-like consistency. Contains the bactericidal enzyme lysozyme. It moistens the conjunctiva and cornea. Provides nutrients and dissolved O2 to the cornea. Extrinsic muscles of the eye. Lateral/medial rectus. Superior/inferior rectus. Superior/inferior oblique. Important to know. Actions and nerve supply in table. Extrinsic eye muscles. Eye movements controlled by 6 extrinsic eye muscles. Foract eye muscles. Superior rectus, moves eyeball superiorly supplied by cranial nerve 3. Inferior rectus, moves eyeball inferiorly supplied by cranial nerve 3. Lateral rectus, moves eyeball laterally supplied by cranial nerve V. Medial rectus, moves eyeball medially supplied by cranial nerve 3. Extrinsic eye muscles: 2 oblique muscles rotate eyeball on its axis. Superior oblique rotates eyeball inferior and laterally and is supplied by cranial nerve 4. Inferior oblique rotates superior and laterally and is supplied by cranial nerve 3. Convergence of the eyes. Binocular vision in humans has both eyes looking at the same object. As you look at an object close to your face, both eyeballs must turn inward. Convergence. Required so that light rays from the object will strike both retinas at the same relative point. Extrinsic eye muscles must coordinate this action. Internal eye anatomy. Tunics of eye: fibrous tunic, outer layer. Vascular tunic, uvea, middle layer. Nervous tunic, retina, inner layer. Internal structures of eye. Outer fibrous tunic. Sclera. Cornea. Sclera white of the eye, covers posterior 3/4 of the eye. Denser regular connective tissue layer, collagen and fibroblasts. Provide shape and support. At the junction of the sclera and cornea is an opening, scleral venous sinus. Posteriorly pierced by optic nerve, N2. Cornea transparent, avascular, helps focus light, refraction. Astigmatism: corneal surface wavy so parts of image out of focus. 3 layers. Non-keratinized stratified squamous. Collagen fibers and fibroblasts. Simple squamous epithelium. Transplants, common and successful, no blood vessels so no antibodies to cause rejection. Nourished by tears and aqueous humor. Middle vascular tunic or uvea. Choroid. Ciliary body. Ciliary muscle and ciliary process. Iris. Radial muscle and circular muscle. Pupil. Choroid. A network of blood vessels that supply oxygen and nutrients to the tissues of the eye. Located deep to the sclera. Contains a pigmented layer, melanin, that helps absorb excess light. Ciliary body. Anterior to the choroid is a circular structure called the ciliary body. Ciliary body has ciliary muscles that act on suspensory ligaments which suspend the lens in the correct position. Ciliary body is also made up of a ciliary process that makes a fluid called aqueous humor. Suspensory ligaments. The suspensory ligaments are either taut or relaxed based on the action of the ciliary muscles. The tension on the ligaments changes the shape of the lens, depending on the distance of the object being viewed. This process is called accommodation. iris-colored part of the eye. It is the most anterior portion of the vascular tunic, made up of radial muscle and circular muscle. Controls the amount of light entering the eye. The opening in the middle of the iris is called the pupil, which appears as the dark center of the eye. Iris. The iris either dilates or constricts the pupil to regulate the amount of light entering the eye. In bright light the pupil will be small, but in dim light the pupil will be very large to let in as much light as possible. Constriction of pupils, contraction of the circular fibers, parasympathetic control. Dilation of pupils, contraction of radial fibers, sympathetic control. Internal eye anatomy. Inner sensory tunic/retina. Posterior 3/4 of eyeball only, anterior margin, ora serrata retina, rods only, optic disc, attachment of optic nerve, blind spot, no photoreceptors for via centralis, near the middle of the retina, highest concentration of cones and region of highest visual acuity, inner sensory tunic/retina. Superficial layer of pigment epithelium, melanin. Non-visual portion. Absorbs stray light and helps keep image clear. Deeper layer of neurons. Rods/cones of photoreceptor layer. Bipolar neuron layer. Ganglion cell layer. Rods and cones/photoreceptors. Rods, rod-shaped cells. Shades of gray in dim light. Nocturnal vision, black and white vision, great sensitivity in dim light. 120 million rod cells. Discriminates shapes and movements, distributed along periphery of retina, rods and cones/photoreceptors. Cones, cone-shaped cells. Sharp, color vision at all higher light intensities. 6 million. Fovea centralis, widest distribution at center of retina. Photoreceptors on retina. Vision pathway of light. Ganglion cells, bipolar cells, photoreceptor cells. Pathway visual impulses. Photoreceptor cells, bipolar cells, ganglion cells, optic nerve. Lens focuses image on retina. Suspensory ligament and ciliary muscles control curvature to focus images on retina. Divides interior of eyeball into anterior cavity and posterior cavity, flattened, less convex. For distant images. Rounded, more convex. For close images. Accommodation problems. Anterior cavity, anterior to lens. Filled with aqueous humor. Produced by ciliary body. Continually drained by scleral venous sinus. Replaced every 90 minutes. Drainage of aqueous humor from eye to bloodstream. Glaucoma. Increased intraocular pressure that could produce blindness. Problem with drainage of aqueous humor, posterior cavity, posterior to lens. Filled with vitreous humor, jelly-like. Holds retina in place. Formed once during embryonic life. Floaters are debris in vitreous of older individuals. Cortex regions responsible for vision. Left occipital lobe receives visual images from nasal half of the right eye and temporal half of the left eye. Right occipital lobe receives visual images from nasal half of the left eye and temporal half of the right eye. 1 3 4 2 5 6 Visual field of left eye, temporal half, right eye, nasal. Midbrain. Left eye. Retina. Optic. Radiations. Left eye and its pathways. Tract. Primary visual area of cerebral cortex, area 17, in occipital lobe. Lateral geniculate nucleus of the thalamus. Right eye. Right eye and its pathways. Nasal retina. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Internal structures of eye. Inner sensory tunic/retina. Pigment epithelium. Rods/cones. A photoreceptor. Rods, nocturnal vision, black and white vision, great sensitivity in dim light. Cones, color vision at all higher light intensities. Optic disc, attachment of optic nerve, blind spot. Fovea centralis, highest concentration of cones. Rods and cones. Eye terms. Lens is convex. More convex to see close, less convex to see distant. UV light damage to lens equals cataract. Myopia equals nearsighted, fixed with concave lens. Hypermetropia equals farsighted, fixed with convex lens. Rods detect black/white in dim light, cones detect color in bright light. Glaucoma is buildup of fluid pressure in eye. Choroid, ciliary body, iris, and pupil.